Welcome to Leadership from the Cross with Pastor Scott Thom. This broadcast is devoted to taking your ministry and life to the next level. No matter what the level you are at, let us help advance your leadership skills. Leadership from the Cross is a ministry of Cross Christian Fellowship in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And now, Pastor Scott Thom.
Well, welcome back to Leadership from the Cross. I want to thank you for listening and choosing us when you have so many opportunities. I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about today because it's a powerful subject. It's transformative. Most people value certain things, or they say they value certain things. But oftentimes what they value, they really don't, because they're not showing that they do by what they invest in it. Whatever you invest in or wherever your heart is, that's where your treasure is. Scripture says that. And so there's a number of places where we need to invest if we want to be successful in whatever you're doing, in family and business, especially in ministry and in church. So there's three areas where almost everybody says they value, but yet they don't do it or take it to the next level. It's minimal, the effort that they put into it. The first one is valuing yourself. The second would be valuing time. The third would be valuing planning. So the first one, valuing yourself. This is not some weird self-love, selfishness attitude. This is a scriptural viewpoint. Scripture in so many places talks about developing yourself, transforming yourself by either engaging and allowing the Bible, the Holy Spirit, the Word of God, and teachers of the Word of God to help you do that. But you've got to take it and you've got to use it. In Proverbs, it talks about wisdom. It talks about understanding. And in Proverbs 8:17, it says, I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. Talking about understanding and wisdom and knowledge. That you've got to seek diligently, which is what? Investing. You're investing. This is where you have to believe you are worth the time and effort to develop yourself. Well, of course I do. Sometimes you don't. And I'm just going to tell you, sometimes you don't. Let me explain myself. That many times you run till you run on empty and you have no time for yourself. And that's good in some cases. It's sacrificial in some cases, but it's short-sighted in all cases. If you are not developing yourself, you will not be the best husband that you will be, or wife that you will be, or leader, or teacher, or business individual. You are not going to be there if you don't invest in yourself. Just doing things throughout the day and staying busy does not develop you at any kind of accelerated rate or rate that is really that beneficial. We think it is many times. Well, I've learned a lot of new things today, but that's just a little bit of what you should be learning. We should be diligently seeking wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And you are made in the image of God, and He's created you to be His workmanship, and He's created you for a calling and a purpose. Are you preparing yourself for that calling and for that purpose? And the only way you do that is if you value the resources that God has poured into you, if you value your personage as yourself, then you will begin to put forth the effort to develop yourself. Timothy did this. Timothy, who followed Paul. When Paul was sending Timothy over to the church at Philippi, he spoke about Timothy in Philippians 2:22 that there's no one else like-minded, there's no one else with proven or applied character as in Timothy. And this is a very unique word in the sense it's not used frequently in Scripture, but it's almost like saying, if you think of me, Paul, then you're thinking of Timothy. as well, because Timothy is like a chip off the old block. Timothy is just like me. If you're thinking of character, you're correspondingly thinking of Timothy. This is such a compliment to Timothy. Think about that. If Paul the Apostle said, hey, there's no one like you that I'm sending out that has the same mindset as I have and have proven character. You have character that corresponds to activities that are full of integrity. And that only comes by applying yourself in this area. You're not born with this. This takes time and effort to be diligent to develop it in yourself. Let me just say this. Don't go over this simply. If you are not buying into this, you will not have great success in life unless you believe and act on the previous statement. The previous statement that you need to believe you are worth the time and effort to develop yourself. If you say, I want to be a better dad, you've got to put the effort and time into being it. It doesn't just happen. And that's not a selfish thing, right? That's a selfless thing. I'm going to give up extra time and extra energy to be the best dad I can be for my family, or the best leader you can be, or the best producer at your workplace. And you'll benefit the workplace. But if you don't buy into this, if you don't act on it, nothing's going to happen. Well, why don't we? We say we value these things, and we say we want to be a better leader, better teacher, better father, better whatever it is, and yet we don't do it. It's because we have no plan. We don't plan. We think it's just going to happen, and life rolls us. And this is something that we're going to launch in our Bible college, probably fall of 2016, because we see a number of universities now using this, and it's called life planning. And it's where you intentionally invest in yourself in a particular area in your life, and you develop that in your life. So you begin to develop what you need, maybe to understanding in finances, or a better understanding in leadership, or better walk, or a better prayer life, or whatever it is, but you intentionally plan to do it with studies, with a plan to implement it. And when you know the secrets of putting this together, your life begins to explode. It begins to blossom. All of a sudden you're like, wow, there's a richness to my life that I've been missing because it's just taking some time to plan. Now it's work. Thinking is work, and it's hard. Why don't we do it? Because it's hard work. I'd rather just veg in front of the TV. And you may not believe that about me, but I would rather do that. I would rather sometimes just sit and veg. But if you take the time up front to plan, reward yourself later, and let yourself relax and rest and do these things. But if you don't plan your life, life plans you, right? Things happen. And pretty soon life happens and the world passes you by, and you said, man, I wish I could have done those things over. I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had spent more time here. I wish I'd have done this with my family. I wish I would have wish, because we could have, would have, should have, right? But you start it with life planning, with having a plan. And then you need a follow through. You need to have something where you're going, because of the plan. It's not good just to have the plan. You have to have the plan and a way to implement the plan. If you're not doing that, you're like, I kind of have a good handle on this. That's prideful, because we really don't know what we don't know. Well, I don't know. Well, that's true, because you don't know. If you don't know something because you never have gotten into it. You've never been challenged in that area. You didn't even know that those things existed. And so we don't know what we don't know. And if we're not engaging in that and finding out new things, new wisdom, new templates, new understanding, new knowledge, then you can go, oh my gosh, I can use this. I can develop this. I can go, and it's powerful. Now, let me give you a couple ways where this best works, because it's difficult to do just on your own. Now, you can do it, and the life planning will really go a long way to help you do that. And even in there, we implement many of these things. But let me give you two powerful ways that can really help. First is planning and developing and investing in yourself comes best when you can have a place or a system of self-evaluation. Now, it may be a system that you get from a book. It may be like our online program that we're going to do that's going to ask you a series of questions that's going to open your eyes up to certain areas where you're going to have to think through areas and be challenged in areas you've never been challenged in, where you are now growing and learning because you're being confronted with this. So you want something that's self-evaluating, and that's difficult to do, and it's hard to confront yourself and think about these things and honestly do that. That's where the second part of this is you need a consortium of others. You need a group of other people who will help, and you especially want a group that can become closely knit, mature, so they have close ties, so there's a friendship and a trusting that does engage there. But you also want people who are mature, that will take things and not just make jokes every week because they're uncomfortable, but will really hammer out the real things that are in the room. And when you get a consortium of others, and this is really like a group of people, right? Wisdom comes through a multitude of counselors. And you want to also, let me give you a third one. This is a bonus, so no extra charge, all right? So you want to read books and follow people who challenge you. You want to listen to podcasts. You want to read books. You want to follow people who, man, they're hard to follow. They challenge you either by their vocabulary, by what they say. And you're like, some of these people you may say, oh, they're crazy. Oh, nobody works that hard or nobody does that. But you know what? These are the kind of people that will cause your life to go to the next level. They will cause you to grow. They will cause you to transform. And you want these people around you. Look for people who are above you in areas and connect with them. Find successful people, find spiritual people, find these people, ask them to be mentors, ask them to go to lunch with you. Even if you have to pay for this, get it done. You want a place where you can be real. You want to get it to a place where you can be real. You want to be around people who are trying to improve themselves. Then you're going to grow. Then it's going to be profound. In our Bible college that's starting up, we're having discussion groups. When somebody's attending locally, we always get discussion groups going. So people finally become real. They let their guard down. They share real things. Here's what I'm really going through. And they begin to have real care and concern and answers and real growth in their life. Maybe a men's group, a women's group, maybe a mastermind group that you get together. But you want a place where you can be challenged, where it can be real. There's so much more I can share on this, but I don't want to go too far into it. We'll touch on things like this in future podcasts. The second part I want to go to, though, is time. The first is invest in yourself. The second one is to invest in time, to value time. If you don't value yourself, you're not going to build yourself. You're not going to be the best that you can be. And if you're not valuing time, you're not going to get there, even if you do value yourself. If you don't value time, you become a slave to it. See, time waits for no man. We all have the same opportunity. You have the same opportunity that I do. Are you wasting it? Am I wasting it? Let me give you a little secret, especially for you church leaders. If you are taking the time to value time, you will be ahead of the schedule, and you will also get ahead of attacks from the enemy. See, the enemy isn't all present or all powerful. The enemy is limited as we are. Satan is limited to the number of seconds in the day that you and I are limited to. Now, the more we plan, the more we value time, the more we utilize time properly, the less that he can do, the less that our enemy can do. It means that the enemy has a difficult time keeping up with us. He's limited in the same way. So if you are taking the time to utilize time, you are still going to be attacked, But those attacks will be less effective if you are applying this principle of redeeming the time. And doesn't the scripture tell us that we should redeem the time, especially because the days are evil, especially because sin is out there, especially because the enemy is out there? If you redeem the time, it's hard for the enemy to get a foothold in your life or in your ministry because you're churning away, man. You're moving things, baby, right? You're going for it. Well, guess what? The enemy, he's got to make double time then to try to get ahead of you. And it's difficult to do if you're marching to the beat of the clock. Look, if you don't get ahead of time, you're always going to be reacting to it. If you don't plan and value time, then you're reactive. You're not intentionally engaging things. You're just playing catch up. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that in ministry? I have at times. I've totally felt like this. Man, I'm just putting out one fire after another. I just feel like I'm playing catch up, trying to get this ministry going, then trying to get this ministry to be sustained, trying to run back, and you feel like you're juggling plates. And you're running back and forth, and you get the plate spinning over here and you get a plate spinning over there, and you're doing it. Part of that is raising up leadership. And part of that is thinking through things before you get there so that you don't have to have so many plates spinning, or you have people helping you spin them, or you have an automated plate spinner because you're ahead. Now, leaders take time to think and analyze. That's simple, but we don't do it. We value that. You believe in that, right? You should think through things. Everybody would say yes. And is that important? Everybody would say yes. How many people actually do it? People say, I have a to-do list. I have a task list. I have a plan. But how many actually really do? How many actually really have their plans and thoughts written out and then have a plan, a strategy to implement that? Very few, because you don't just start the process by sitting down, clearing the plate, clearing your mind, and stopping and thinking. Now, this was part of the meditation they did back in the good old days when they weren't interrupted by email and Snapchat and Facebook and text messages and commercials and billboards and anything that's around them that's coming and distracting them. They would sit and they would meditate on God's word, and you could think through problems. You could think through strategies. You can think through things that you needed to do. And you weren't just reacting. You had a plan. You were intentional with your life. So there are a number of things you do. You have to sit down. And one of the things is, and we talked about this, the first part is, how can I make myself better? I learned this from my pastor and a couple of the good, actually entrepreneurs, Christian businessmen, who said, you've got to be able to sit down, you've got to plan through things, and you really need to do it on an annual basis, then on a quarterly basis, then on a monthly basis, then on a daily basis, and break these things down to small bites. And when you do that, you accomplish so much. And I began to do that, and I was amazed at what I was able to accomplish. And you can do it too. And I would ask, how can I get better? And I would have to critique myself. And where do I really fall short? Where would I like to be better? For example, I sat down in one year and it was like, well, your prayer life stinks. And I was like, yeah, you're right, self. You don't have to be so harsh about it, but yeah, you're right. And I just thought, you know what I'm going to do is each summer, I'm going to take, when I'm not teaching Bible college, or oftentimes I did teach in the summer, but they were shorter classes, and they're usually a class I taught before, so it didn't require as much studying. I would take the summer and the summer breaks and say, I'm going to learn everything that I can about a certain topic to build myself up. So one summer, I just said, I'm going to listen to audio files, podcasts on prayer. I'm going to read books on prayer, and I'm going to put a plan together, and I'm going to pray. And I'll tell you what, man, that was so beneficial for me to grow in prayer, to grow in faith, to be able to teach the topic, to be a better leader, a better father for my family. And so for most of the summers during that time, when I was in a place of being an associate pastor at a very large church and teaching in the Bible college and pastoral school, I would take the summers and I would do that. So the next summer it would be a different topic. And I just began to build my library and build myself because I did that. So when you're thinking and you're asking yourself these things and you're using time properly, you have to sit down and say, how can I make myself better? Secondly, how can I make my team better? This might be, if you don't have a team and you say, well, then replace that with family. How can I make my family better? If for business, you go, well, how can I make my office or my team better? How can I make my elders better in my church? What do they need? Sit and think about it and look and think, where are we falling short? If I had to ask other people to look from the outside, what would they say about my family or about my business or about my ministry? And look at it with fresh eyes. Maybe they need more training. Maybe they are doing really well, but they're kind of burnt out. Maybe they need encouragement. Maybe I need to plan a retreat this year and bless our leadership. If you don't sit back and plan this, then usually the only way that something like this comes about is if somebody else in your team sits down and actually talks with someone else, or they think it through and they come to you and they say, hey, leader, our guys are being burnt out. We need some kind of sabbatical or a leadership retreat or something to build everybody up. And you go, oh, that's a great idea. I wish I'd have thought about it. Well, you should if you took the time. And part of that would be asking people around you and then thinking about what they said. You don't have to implement everything they say, but you should implement some of the things. Thirdly, how can I make my organization better? How can I make my overall family, my overall business, my overall church get better? Does it need new direction, new goals? For the kids, when you say, I want to instill character in my kids, well, how are you going to go about that? Well, maybe you need to put them in sports and then emphasize character when they are playing. Maybe it's starting a side business with them, helping the kid learn how to mow lawns and how to open a checking book, how to do that. But if you sit there and go at age 13, we're going to do this, age 16, we're going to do this, and you're implementing these things, you'll be amazed at how much you'll accomplish and how much they'll accomplish. The fourth thing is, how can I make my vision better? How can I see things better? How can I know what I don't know? And by that is going back, reading books that talk about leadership, or they talk about developing a business, or talk about developing the church. You want to look with a critic's eye. And that may be where you do self-evaluation tests, SWOT tests, character development tests. These are things that we implement in our Bible college. So we don't give you regular tests. These are the types of tests we give because these are what really help you in life. So how can you make your vision better? How can you get a handle on what you really need? Now, all these things that I'm talking about, it's not rocket science, right? I'm not like Shazam. I'm the smartest person in the world. I'm not. But I'm one of these people that's going to help you, and I'm going to say, you need to do this. Don't neglect these areas. If you don't use time wisely, they will be neglected. If you use time wisely and you think on these things, you will be incredibly successful. So you must implement a plan to succeed. That's the third part. The first part is invest in yourself, right? The second part is invest in time. Take the time to think, stop, slow down. Not just to smell the roses, but to think about planting another rose bush. And the last one then is to implement a plan to succeed. Take time and invest in a plan. Constructive things do not happen without the plan that is thought through and implemented. You don't build a very good house without a plan. Oftentimes you just forget things, you miss things. It's just not going to work. It doesn't mean if you have a plan that that it doesn't all just fall into place. But without a plan, things don't happen very well. Remember the old A-Team, the TV show, Hannibal? He would come along, and at the end of the show, he goes, "I love it when a plan comes together." And it's really, he had a plan. It didn't always go as smoothly, but because he had a plan, they were successful. It's a TV show, but it translates to real life. Because here's what the thing is. We want a lot of things. We desire a lot of things, but let me tell you what a desire and what a want is. It's just a hallucination without a plan. A desire is just a hallucination without a plan. It's just wishful thinking. So what you want to do is set SMART goals. A SMART goal is something that is, and this is not new either, then you can find this all over the internet and other places. It's just a real simple metaphor and acronym that you can use to make a plan. So for us at Cross Christian Fellowship and with our Bible College, we have a desire. We have a desire to plant 100 churches in the next 20 years. Well, that is just a hallucination unless you have a plan. Well, we do have a plan. And this is what you want to do. You want to be smart about your plan. You want to be smart about your goals. And so we're going to use SMART as the acronym, the S, the M, the A, the R, the T, to bring about your plan. So the first part of SMART is S, be specific. What do you want to do with this plan? Like if you just say, I want to better myself, not good enough. You want to say, I want my prayer life to be more effective. I want to see more answered prayers. Okay, that's a specific goal. Finally, you've got it. For us, we want to plant churches. Very clear. We want to plant churches. And we have quite a few. And I've been a part of 30 plus church plants. Now, that's specific. That's something that you can see. It's something that is visible. It is a true goal that you can have out there. Not something that is vague and where you can't really picture it. What does just being better mean? Get specific. Being better means that you're going to be a better prayer warrior. Being better means that you're going to be able to implement strategies. Being better means that you are going to raise X amount of leaders or start X amount of ministries or baptize X amount of people next year. The next one then is M for measurable. S means specific. M is measurable. So your goal is out there. We want to plant churches, but how? How many? You need to have something measurable. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we are going to plant 100 churches in the next 20 years. Is that measurable? Yeah. If we get 10 years in and we got 2 churches planted, we know that we're not on pace. But we know that we need X amount this year, X amount the next year. And as we begin to grow and do this, if I lay this out on 20 years, it means 5 a year. Can we get 5 a year out? Yeah, we can. Because even as a smaller church that we are right now, we're growing, we're actually going to get pretty big. But the whole goal isn't that. The goal is to make the kingdom of God bigger at large. The whole idea is it's going to take 5 a year for 20 years and we can get there. Can we do that? Yeah, we're planting one every 11 months right now and raising up a pastor every 8 months. And we are just getting started. We know how to do this. I've been a part of 30 church plants and helping people do that already. So we are going above and beyond that actually, because we've also saved about 7 other churches in that same time. This is just in 5 years that we've been able to put pastors and leaders in. So you want it measurable. That would be for you. You want to say, okay, we want a men's ministry. Okay, great. But what's measurable about that? I want a men's ministry that is meeting every week where we have at least 100 men in it or 30 men in it. And we want to see them accomplish at least 2 main outreaches a year. That would be measurable. Okay, let's get men's ministry going. Let's get it filled up to that capacity, and let's get them doing outreaches, whether it may be a barbecue or a car show, or they're going and helping at the orphanage or whatever and inviting people, but they're doing at least 2 a year. Okay. Well, now if you have a leader, if you just tell a leader, start a men's ministry, and they're like, okay, but then that's so vague. Be very specific and make it measurable so that you can come back to them and go, are you on schedule to do your 2 outreaches this year? And that holds them accountable. The A is attainable. So you want specific, not vague. You want measurable, very laid out by the numbers, and then attainable. Don't make it too easy and don't make it too hard. It has to be attainable. I love BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. I love ventures of faith, taking off and trying just great things, but make sure that it's doable. If you're starting out something and you're saying, we want to do this, and you set this huge goal, but you've never done this before, you got to be careful, because what will happen is you'll get frustrated because you really don't have the expertise and the knowledge to pull it off at such a level that you've put it for yourself. So start something shorter, smaller goals. And then once you have success in that, then ramp it up, reset your goal and say, we're going to go for twice as much or 3 times as much or 10x. So if you're saying we want to do an outreach and see at least 10 people saved, great. Don't start with, we're going to do an outreach, get 100,000 people, and we're going to see 2,800 people get saved. If you've never done an outreach on that level, you can set that as a goal, but you better have smaller goals to get there. Like, we're going to do a bunch of smaller outreaches, learn this process, and then eventually within 5 years, we want to do this major outreach. Make it attainable. R, so in SMART, you have S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, realistic. It must be a goal that is something that you are willing to do. A goal must represent an objective towards which you are both willing and able to work at. It has got to be realistic. If you say, I'm going to become a people person, but you're really an introvert, and you say, I'm going to step up and I'm going to go into like a sales profession, and I'm going to just rock this, I'm going to crush it. Well, it may not be a realistic goal if inside of you, everything in your heart and everything in your gut is, I really am afraid of talking to people. I'm really afraid to ask for the order. I'm really afraid. Then that's not a realistic goal for you. You need to find something that's realistic. You're both willing and able to work at it. So this is something where your passion kind of meets your plan. What you're good at, your talent and your passion, and then your vocation or your calling or your goal all merges together. You want to make sure that if you're doing a very big goal, a big change in your life, this is something you're valuing, this plan, that it's something realistic. It's something that you can do. And the last is time bound. So SMART, S-M-A-R-T, time bound, something that is attainable within a certain time period. It'll motivate you. This will help you get up and go, man, the clock is ticking. And it forces you to use time wisely and work intentionally, because you're like, I gave myself a certain time limit. For us, 20 years. We got to get 100 churches. In 5 years from now, we better be making some good headway. In 10 years from now, we better be on pace and seeing exponential growth where we're going to get there. What you set as a time barrier, that is something that you've got to break through. This barrier or this boundary that you've put around yourself causes you to take action. It makes you have a plan that's actionable, because when you see time slipping away you're going to say, I've got to get this done. So I'm going to have to put in an extra 15 minutes here, an extra hour here. I'm going to have to set aside a day for this here because I'm falling behind or whatever the thing is. And the other thing it does is when you start falling behind or you're seeing that, man, there's a major amount of work to be done, it also helps you become innovative because you're going like, okay, I really want to get this goal. I really love doing this. We're having some success, but not at the rate I really need. So I may need to innovate. I may need to bring in a manager. I may need to invest in something. I may need to hire a company. I may need to set parameters that are tied to like a new app or a new technology that's going to help me get there. And so it helps you think beyond regular boundaries. So time, which is kind of this boundary, it really helps to free you because it forces you to do work well. You don't have time to dilly-dally, put it off, and the next day, and you're procrastinating. No, man, today you get it done. So I hope this helps you. As you think about this, you'll realize that most people will say that they value these things, but they truly don't. And most of the leaders that you know that are really doing well, that are really making an impact, and if you look at their life, they do value these things. And maybe not even perfectly, but because they do it, at least on some scale, they are having some to great success because most people won't do any of this at all. This is also, again, something we train you in the Bible college. And I push people in there. Yeah, there's a mountain of work. We take away the things that would hinder people. No writing of papers and essays and grades and things like that. We want you to take tests, but there are self-evaluating tests that will push you, tests that will make you grow, tests that will help you break through. And we will help you to value yourself. We will help you to redeem time, and we will help you to to put together a plan and implement those plans. And I get so excited about it because I've seen this work. I've seen this in countless times doing this and mentoring people for all these years, almost 3 decades. I know what works and seeing these things take off in people. We've built this into a very unique program with our online Bible college. It may be launched by the time you hear this. It's going to be launched in spring of 2016. You can find out more about our Bible college, though, by just texting the word CCF College to 33444. We'll send you information that tells you about the college, point you in the right direction. Once our site gets completely worked and ready to go, and I'm so pleased with it so far, but we're kind of waiting. We overdo it, under promise and over deliver. And so it's affordable. It'll challenge you in these areas. These are the kind of things that not only do we just say, do it, we help you kind of walk through a long process, through a couple years. But it will totally bless you and cause you to be confident. You're going to be so confident in what you know, confident in your actions. You are not going to have fear that I'm not equipped. You're not going to fear that I'm not going to have the answers. And you're actually going to be excited. People are going to have to hold you back because you are ready to go. And you're wondering why the rest of the world doesn't know these things and why they are not on board too. It's just so much fun and amazing. So you can open up a new text. The recipient's number is 33444, and you can text the message CCF College, one word, and you'll get a reply. They'll make sure you're not a robot. You respond, and we'll email you information where you can make your decision and possibly enroll. We'd love to have you in there. I'd love to be a part of your life and a part of mentoring and a part of seeing God's will really happen in your life. So really check that out. And I guess we're done for another week, and I can't wait for the next week. So until then, blessed wishes, and we'll see you later.
You have been listening to Leadership from the Cross with Pastor Scott Thom of Cross Christian Fellowship in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Check out Pastor Scott's ministry training school and his other radio show, No Other Doctrine, by visiting our website at crossfellowship.org. That's crossfellowship.org. Also, you can visit our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Leadership from the Cross.